those of you that don't know me, I'm DJ Fasmwa. I do like radio show with Caribbean music, reggae, dancehall, and soca. Soca specifically is something that I really want to push and focus on. Also, I have a little YouTube channel going on with a little vlog. But today is not about me. Today is about this guy sitting to the left of me. All right, so he's going to introduce himself very shortly. But he is from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm going to pass the mic over to him, and he's going to chat about who he is and where he's from, and I'll be asking him some questions. Cool?
Sounds good. Sweet. Thank you. Hi, I'm Wayne Joseph, and I'm from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks for having me here.
Sweet. Why do we contact you to be here?
I think you contact me because I am one of the representations of Caribbean culture in Australia. I'm from the islands, I've traveled a lot, and I know how to represent Caribbean culture globally. And I think we in Australia have the unique ability and the privilege to be able to represent Caribbean culture here.
That's one of the reasons, that's right. But also, I saw you on TV. I saw you on TV. I saw a glimpse of you on TV. I was like, hang on, I know that guy. He was at one of my parties.
Exactly.
And what is it that I saw you on?
All right, so you spotted me on SBS's new TV series called The Chef's Line. It basically pits home cooks against professional cooks and against other home cooks as well, all around a specific culture, and we're competing to see who can do the best representation of home food. So premiering the 10th of April, Monday the 10th of April, is the African cultural section of The Chef's Line. So I'll be featured on there representing Caribbean Creole food, which has a big African influence.
Right, so do you want to actually delve into that for maybe some of the viewers?
Yeah, so I'm quite mixed in my ethnicity. So I have a mostly African father, a mother who was a combination of Chinese, Dutch, and European stock, and a great-grandmother who was South American Indian. So basically I have all these influences, but what really stands out to me, even appearance-wise, is the African heritage. And I guess when I applied, I applied under the premise of being a Caribbean cook, a Creole Caribbean cook. The closest you can get globally goes back to the African diaspora and African cuisine. So that's how I ended up in the African section. And it's been a real honor to be able to represent Caribbean food there.
The Caribbean has a vast variety of people and culture, ranging over 500 years, I believe. So do you want to maybe touch on that?
Sure, I'll be glad to. So the Caribbean is a very diverse region. We have people who have come from many different cultures and countries. So European, African, Indian, Chinese, you name it. They all came together in the Caribbean. Our food is quite distinct. And, we'll go to our graves believing that we have the best food in the world. And I think that's true. But we are influenced heavily by other countries. And one of the regions, one of the continents that has inspired Caribbean food is the African continent. Within the African continent, there's so many different types of cuisine. We've been mainly influenced by West African food, and I think you look at any Caribbean Creole dish and you will see the West African roots there.
Yeah, so there you go. That's a bit of the background of the Caribbean diaspora and culture and so forth. So you're going to be on the show. Mm-hmm. You're a representation of the Caribbean culture here in Australia.
Yes.
You've traveled a lot. In terms of culture in Sydney, so part of Caribbean Sydney's manifesto, if you could call it that, is about spreading culture and building bridges between Caribbean culture and culture in Sydney, and specifically Sydney, but also Australia by default. Drawing back on some of the things that you mentioned, i.e. you've traveled a lot, you're a cultural ambassador to some extent. Yeah. What are some of the things you've encountered in Australia that you could say is similar to the Caribbean, or Caribbean people do better? Mm-hmm. If you have any examples. Or.
Sure. One commonality I see between Australian and Caribbean folk is our love for being relaxed and for mateship, for getting people around the table, for getting everyone together to lime, to have a good time at the bar, to dance, that sort of thing. I think just the ability to relax and to not take oneself too seriously is one of the big unifying factors between Australia and the Caribbean. Food is another thing. I think Australians take food quite seriously. I'm Australian as well now, so I can say that I'm a proud food-loving Australian. And I can see people's love for exotic flavors, for the Trinidadian scorpion pepper, for mofongo, which we were talking about just now, for jerk, for different types of curries. So many things that are drawing people together here. So what can I say beyond the fact that I think food is a good unifier. Sport is another thing. We come from a very good cricketing region. I still think the West Indies team is better than the Australian one, but I shouldn't say that too loud around here.
Okay, let's go into a bit about your reason for coming to Australia. How did you end up in the biggest island on the planet?
Oh, cool. So there's a cool story here. I ended up in Australia by accident. So I was about to study abroad in Brazil, and I was applying for scholarships, applied to the wrong scholarship, and ended up becoming a Rotary ambassadorial scholar representing Texas, where I was studying at the time. So my journey began in Brazil, basically, and ended up in Australia. I came just to study a Master of Culture, Health and Medicine, my background being in public health, and I ended up staying on to work at the ANU as a student welfare advisor, basically getting students out of trouble and trying to make their student experience a bit better. So ended up staying on in Australia and ended up falling in love with this place. I mean, from the environment, the culture, indigenous culture, everything all coming together. And my discovery of food here has been quite tremendous as well. I taught cooking classes at the ANU, free for students, just to try to get them, more familiar with the different types of food and to step out of their comfort zones as well. And probably the most intriguing part of that is that people really took to heart the ability to share the meal rather than just enjoying the meal and preparing the meal. They actually relish the fact that they can sit down afterwards and have that sort of cultural exchange. So, yeah.
Amazing. That's very valuable stuff culturally. So, then I have to ask, what's your favorite dish?
Ever?
Ever.
Give me anything curry.
Okay, so what do you think, like a Mayero curry or something? Or
I would say
Port of Spain curry, or
a Port of Spain curry will do really well. A Chaguanas curry even better.
Okay.
Even a Fijian curry, because I'd like something that Australians can identify with. Fijian curry and Trinidadian curry are so similar, and to me, if I'm homesick, like I can go to a Fijian restaurant and
Nice.
not feel as homesick anymore.
Wicked. All right. So, favorite spot in Australia?
Ooh, the Whitsundays.
Why?
Beautiful water, good memories there, very clean, just picturesque. When you think of a dream landscape, that's what I think of. And I know they've been recently hit by the typhoon, so my heart goes out to them. But that's just such a beautiful place. And I guess also the South Coast.
The
South Coast is just amazing as well. Very pristine and not too many people, so you can have an entire beach to yourself.
This is really interesting. You brought up food a number of times,
Yeah.
and I'm really curious as to what sparked your interest in food, basically.
Yeah. Well, basically, I've been cooking since I was about 10 years old. And as I grew, I started practicing and experimenting with a lot of different food from different regions. Probably the biggest influence on my cooking has been the Portuguese and African influences on Caribbean and Brazilian food, because I studied abroad in Brazil for a bit and absolutely fell in love with the culture there. Now, we have so many influences. For example, saltfish, bacalhau. That is a huge Portuguese dish, and we have it in so many places in Caribbean food. We have the basic tomato base for a lot of Caribbean food as well, a lot of Caribbean Creole food. And when I started seeing the cultural connection to food, that really sparked my interest. So I just kept practicing, and during my travels, I've been to like 35 countries, and I always try to figure out, okay, where did this come from? How has this influenced Caribbean or global food scenes?
Crazy. How does a guy then end up on the African section?
Yeah. All right. So basically, in every dish that I'll be making, I am putting the Caribbean influence in the center of the dish. So I really want to highlight how we use Caribbean flavors in African cuisine. And which one inspires which? Well, I guess viewers will have to tune in to see. But it should be quite evident from my recipe list what I put in there that's Caribbean.
Sweet.
The chef's line on SBS will put home cooks against some of the best professional kitchens in Australia. So basically what it's going to be, home cooks like myself will face off against each other while also competing against the staff of some of the best restaurants around Australia. So basically we have to represent our home dishes, but in a very professional setting, because we're in it to win it, and I'm in this competition to win. That's my goal. So it's going to be pretty intense to see how I go against not only people who've been cooking these dishes all their lives, but also against the restaurant staff who day after day do this to perfection.
Is this pressure?
It is pressure. I can tell you there'll be a lot of sweating on that show.
Is it backstabbing? Is it like dramatic, or is it like...
No, remember, none of us are professionals. So basically what you see on camera is what you get. This is us becoming friends throughout the whole process. I'm still in contact with some of the people from the show. And I can't wait for people to see their stories as well, because I learned so much about the people and about myself through this whole process. Was able to share my culture and my background with them, and also learned so much about their experience in Australia.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Wayne, this is impromptu, right? This is just on the spot right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it to you. Let's see if you're down or if you're not. But I have a feeling you might be down.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in cooking for some of our viewers?
Oh, heck yes.
Okay. Well, I know that there's some viewers out there that would be really interested in tasting your culinary skills.
Yeah.
So what I guess I would ask is for one of the viewers to email us and tell us where Wayne's favorite curry is from. It's somewhere in Trinidad. It could be Port of Spain. It could be Mayero. It could be Shogunas. It could be
Pinal, Debe.
Pinal. Ooh, you see?
Toko.
Anyway, let us know if you know where his favorite curry is from, and he'll be more than delighted to cook for you.
Well, thank you so much, DJ Fasmwa, for having me.
No worries.
And a shout out to all the Caribbean people in Sydney as well. Anyone who loves Caribbean culture. Can't wait for you to see the chef's line, and I cannot wait to cook for one lucky person who answers that question correctly.
Sweet. See you.